Helen of Troy is black now. Jesus, Aslan, is going to be voiced by Meryl Streep. And Animal Farm is now a critique of capitalism instead of communism. This is where we're at with family-friendly content in 2026, and this new mom is not having it. We're breaking down Hollywood's pathetic failure to deliver on any creative new idea and why they're so obsessed with destroying our favorite stories instead, today on The Isabel Brown Show. If you guys didn't already know this, if you've been following me for a long time, you will definitely know this. I love movies. I have always loved movies. Much to my parents' chagrin, I always wanted to be watching a movie if I wasn't reading a book. And usually it was in sequential order. I would read the book and shut everybody out and have my nose buried between the pages for days on end. And then I would go immediately want to watch the movie. My mom was always saying, turn off the TV. And here we are. I still love movies. I always want to keep watching movies. But I'm so depressed by the pathetic attempts to rewrite our favorite stories for the 2020s and beyond by completely changing the essence of the story entirely. And I don't know about you, but I'm noticing a huge shift in Hollywood that I'm curious if you are seeing as well, that all of our creative energy and juices seems to be going in entirely to scripted series, not to feature films. The era of creativity in movies is done, and the only thing Hollywood seems capable of whatsoever in the year of our Lord 2026 is creating live action versions of animated films, which 99% of the time goes very, very wrong, or redoing the same film that we've already loved for decades and decades, and then ruining the story by fundamentally changing it, race swapping it, skipping the ending, or changing the meaning of the ending, etc. And I'm honestly just really tired of it, because especially now that I am a mom, one of the biggest things I looked forward to in my entire pregnancy was getting to show my daughter some of my favorite films that I grew up with for the first time. Brock is really excited, my husband, about this as well. He also is a huge movie buff. A lot of our favorite dates we ever took when we were dating were to the movies. We love movies, and we were so excited to share this with our daughter throughout her first 10 months of life, here and there, once a week for a family movie night. But I'm running out of things to show her, which is what we're going to talk about today. But because of that sad reality, we decided to log on to an old Disney Plus account on Friday and find an old animated Disney Pixar movie. Maybe we'll throw on one of my favorites like Ratatouille, or one of his favorites, maybe Cars. We were thinking about The Lion King last Friday. We were thinking about showing that. So we log on to Disney Plus, and lo and behold, Disney Plus has now merged with Hulu and ESPN. So it is all in one giant app all at the same time. And as we are scrolling through the home page of Disney Plus with our 10-month-old daughter on my husband's old account, the suggested series that pop up include this one, Dying for Sex. Not even making this up. Watch this. So we're scrolling through Disney Plus to find something to watch as a family. Look at this. Scrolling. Oh, what's that? On the Disney Plus homepage, Dying for Sex. After Molly, presuming that's her, receives a diagnosis of stage 4 breast cancer, she decides to leave her husband. Look at the episode title names of this crap. Masturbation is important. What? Oh, ew. I didn't even notice that part. Oh, of course she's gonna sleep with a woman now. And then she dies. So, yikes. Again, homepage of Disney Plus. And for everyone who was trying to own me about it on X when I posted this last Friday night of, well, it only shows that on the parents' account, or it only shows that if you've bundled it with other things. How many families do you think across the country have sat down in the last few weeks on mom or dad's account for Friday family movie night, been scrolling through and had to explain that to their curious child that's asking, Mommy, what the heck does that mean? I also got several comments on TikTok when I posted this video from parents who said that their children or their nieces and nephews' kids' accounts were being pushed that particular series, Dying for Sex. So be diligent, understand what's out there, and desperately, for the love of all that is good, anyone paying attention in the movie industry, we need cleaner, better, family-safe options for Friday family-friendly movie nights. I beg of you. Unfortunately, most people in Hollywood are not hearing my plea for that. They're not paying attention whatsoever to the millions of parents that are out there desperate to have something wonderful and new and creative to show their kids that is family oriented and completely safe to show their children. Instead, the only thing Hollywood seems to be obsessed about is taking our favorite old stories and destroying them in real time. And I know that sounds dramatic, but like, honestly, I'm just tired of the same cycle happening over and over again. And I know you guys are as well. 2026 is going to be a big year for movie releases. And I say movie releases, not new movies, because most of the movie releases that are coming out this year are just sequels, live action adaptations of existing films that we already loved, or remakes of movies that we've known and loved about for decades, with a few exceptions. The new Hunger Games, I'm quite excited about. That actually is the first time that story will be adapted to the screen. I know there's a new biopic about George Washington in his younger years called Young Washington, coming out around 4th of July, that I am psyched for. Maybe that's just the nerdy Americana history buff in me, but I will be at the theater for opening weekend of Young Washington. Unfortunately, those are like two outliers in a massive sea of other sad, pathetic movies that I am expecting for 2026. Not the least of which is one that's getting a whole lot of hype that I actually think will turn out to be a great film. Everything he's ever done is great. But Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey has been in a whole lot of hot water for the last several weeks because of some announcements related to casting. Now, let me be clear. I keep saying that so much the last couple of weeks, and I can't stop saying that phrase in Obama's voice. So let me be clear. I'm sure this movie is going to be amazing. Okay, Christopher Nolan is one of the greatest directors in all of Hollywood history. Interstellar might be in my top 10 movies of all time. It is so well done. It is so perfectly executed. But he's in a little bit of hot water because he's adapting The Odyssey to the screen and making some really interesting choices along the way with casting, not the least of which is casting the beautiful, unbelievably talented Lupita Nyong'o, one of the most talented actresses in modern Hollywood, in my opinion, to portray Helen of Troy. Is this a deal breaker for The Odyssey? Not necessarily. I mean, it doesn't really bother me as much as it bothers the average person that, like, Hamilton has a race diverse cast, even though those were real people. But it just seems incredibly odd to me that we are creating basically a blank check budget, beautiful screen adaptation of one of Homer's epic poems, one of the foundational stories of Western civilization of the Greeks, and we cast the daughter of Zeus to be portrayed by Lupita Nyong'o. That would be like creating, I don't know, a biopic of Harriet Tubman and casting Sydney Sweeney. I don't know. Just wouldn't be in great taste to me, in my opinion. Or a beautiful homage to the original story that people have these roots in, that they have loved for hundreds of years. And we have a pretty good general idea of how Helen of Troy has been portrayed throughout history. Countless paintings, countless sculptures, countless adaptations on the stage of her tend to portray her as ethnically Greek, not African. But, you know, maybe that's just me reading too much into this. Christopher Nolan's female casting in this film is just raising a whole lot of eyes in general. Someone tweeted this the other day, Chris Nolan News. The women casting for The Odyssey. Anne Hathaway is slated to portray Penelope. Charlize Theron is going to be Cersei. Zendaya is portraying Athena. And of course, Lupita Nyong'o is portraying Helen of Troy. In the story, the Zendaya casting is also incredibly odd to me, not the least of which from the ethnicity perspective, but because Athena is generally considered in Greek mythology lore to be old and wise and like truly a figurehead, a matriarch in many ways over the other Greek gods, and Zendaya is generally portrayed as having like this endless youthful exuberance about her. She can portray characters much younger than her actual age, so it's odd to me to be casting her in the position of Athena. But this feels to me to kind of be a slap in the face, to be honest, when it comes to the ridiculous ethnicity and race swapping in the Odyssey. And maybe that's dramatic of me, I don't know. But Michael Knoll said it really well on his show the other day. They call this colorblind casting, and they claim that this has nothing to do with any sort of racial prejudice or bias whatsoever. It's just colorblind. But they would never cast Sydney Sweeney as Harriet Tubman. Okay? That just would never happen. They would never cast Chris Evans to portray Frederick Douglass. That just never would happen, ever. You would be immediately canceled out of Hollywood indefinitely. Your career would be destroyed. You would be dragged through the mud as an evil, bigoted, racist, white supremacist person. But no one ever bats an eye, ever, when we portray George Washington on stage by a black man, a black actor, when we're portraying Helen of Troy by a black actress, when we're portraying Athena by a black actress. And honestly, it's just exhausting, right? I love that we are adapting the Odyssey to the screen, and we're doing something a little more creative, at least, something that's not just another movie remake. But we've known this story, and we've loved this story as one of the foundational epics for Western civilization for centuries. And here we are having to put a modern DEI spin on it and colorblind casting rather than honoring the Greek origins of the Odyssey just for kicks and giggles. I'm just not really having it. Back to it in just a second, but first, you guys know all too well from how often we talk about this that for moms who are facing an unexpected pregnancy, fear and uncertainty can feel so overwhelming that then is preyed upon by those seeking to help you end the life of your child. Past decisions and previous abortions may carry lingering grief that's really hard to navigate alone, and that's exactly where our friends at Preborn step in to help moms who need it the most. Their clinics offer compassionate support without judgment, providing honest conversations, accurate information, and a safe place to process difficult emotions and explore real options. One of the most powerful tools that Preborn provides is ultrasound technology, because seeing your growing baby on the screen and hearing their heartbeat can bring so much clarity in moments of confusion. For many, that simple appointment becomes a turning point, transforming fear into hope and uncertainty into confidence. Preborn walks alongside women through every stage of their motherhood journey, offering ongoing emotional support, practical resources, and a sense of real community. The impact is so obvious. Babies are born, families are formed, and healing happens. And it often all begins with something as simple as one ultrasound, one moment that can change everything. And you can be a part of that change today by making a $28 donation to cover the cost for an ultrasound for a mom in need. All donations are completely tax deductible, and 100% of your donation goes directly to saving babies and building families. To donate securely, you can pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and then say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 keyword baby, or go to preborn.com/Isabel. That is preborn.com/Isabel. Denzel Washington gave a really interesting argument about this general topic years ago in talking about a different film, why a movie about a black cast had to be put together by a black director. And I don't think that that's always true, but I do think with a historical adaptation, it's an interesting angle to take. And he was asked about this point blank by somebody on their press tour, talking to the press, saying this isn't really about the color of one's skin. This is about a cultural conversation and who can adapt this to the screen the best. I thought this was a beautiful, beautiful explanation, especially when we're talking about cultural stories like a Greek epic coming to the screen. So check this out.
So why did he need a black director? Could a white director not have?
It's not color, it's culture.
Explain the difference, because I think we're
Steven
in a space
Spielberg
right
did Schindler's List. Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas. Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese probably could have done a good job with Schindler's List. But they're cultural differences. I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like. That's a cultural difference.
Cultural differences matter in cultural-oriented stories. And on that note, that got me thinking, honestly, I love Christopher Nolan. He's wildly successful. He does an amazing job bringing creativity to the screen. His direction skills are unparalleled, arguably, in modern Hollywood. But why does he keep using the same 5 actors in every single movie that he directs? No offense to Anne Hathaway. Love Anne Hathaway. Huge fan of her work. Wildly talented. Counting the seconds until I can see her back as Andy Sachs in The Devil Wears Prada 2. But is nobody else just like tired of seeing the exact same 5 actors in all of the movies over and over and over again? Peter B. tweeted this a few days ago. There are 0 confirmed Greek actors or actresses in the new Nolan Odyssey movie. From the people who created drama, the story, and theater itself. Do not let Hollywood fool you. Greeks are some of the best thespians in the world. Watch any authentic Greek film or series, and you will be hooked immediately. The beauty of the people is undeniable, but it is the power, depth, and honesty of the performances that move and shock you. Just try it. This story was born in Greece. The talent is still there. Nepotism and the woke virus killed Americans' once great cultural export, Hollywood. Whew. Seems to me, if we were serious about honoring the cultural origins of one of the most culturally significant stories of all time, that inspired countless other stories and adaptations to page, to screen, to stage, perhaps we would try orienting this a bit more in its cultural origins. But I'm not in charge of Hollywood. If I was, I would be making a whole lot of other very dramatically different decisions. On that note, speaking of famous cultural stories, one of Christianity's most famous cultural adaptations of the gospel is the allegory of the story of Jesus Christ portrayed in the stories of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, probably my top 3 favorite theologians. I love the Chronicles of Narnia. I grew up with them. Obviously, I'm like the huge fantasy nerd with all of these stories that I love so much, whether it's The Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or the Chronicles of Narnia. But the Narnia books were always some of my favorites growing up. The films were coming out as I was growing up, and that was so special to see how they brought things to the screen. The new Narnia adaptation has been given, unfortunately, sadly, to, of all people, Greta Gerwig to adapt for a new remake of the Chronicles of Narnia. Now, I don't want to just immediately say Greta Gerwig is the worst, because there's a little bit more nuance there. I thought her adaptation of Little Women was very, very well done. I didn't hate the Barbie movie as much as a whole lot of other conservatives hated the Barbie movie. I actually thought the message was quite great, and we live streamed about that years ago when the movie was coming out. But everything I have heard about this new Narnia adaptation is so disgusting and feels to me like it is an intentional erasure of the most important, significant contributions C.S. Lewis has made to entire generations of people in introducing them to the story of Christ through this beautiful fantasy series, The Chronicles of Narnia. Vogue published a whole piece just a few months ago about everything we know related to Greta Gerwig's Narnia movie. This is being put on by Netflix and will be released by Netflix. We are assuming later this year around Thanksgiving time. And when they asked Greta Gerwig about what the story is even going to be about, which you would think it's a remake of an existing film series, it's already a remake of a book series. Why do we even need to answer the question, what is the story about? Do we not already have the answer for that? When she was asked about what the movie is going to be about, we don't really know, which immediately red flags are going off everywhere for me because of how much we love this series. Vogue says, this is the $1 million question. Although we know Greta Gerwig's first Narnia movie will draw on Lewis's original saga for inspiration, don't love that. It has not yet been officially announced which book the plot will be based on. In an interview with Time magazine from February of 2024, Greta Gerwig revealed that she had been working on adapting Narnia even before Barbie ever started production. As a child, she said, you accept the whole thing, that you're in this land of Narnia, there's fawns, and then Father Christmas shows up. It doesn't even occur to you that it's not schematic. I am interested in embracing the paradox of the worlds that Lewis created because that's what's so compelling about them. I've read this probably 50 times now. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? It's not schematic. I can give you a perfect explanation as to why Father Christmas shows up, because it's a Christian story. Because it is a Christian story, and Father Christmas is St. Nicholas. It's that simple. That's the explanation. She wants to explore the paradox of the worlds that Lewis created, so the real world versus Narnia, because that's what's so compelling about the stories, but refuses to say that we are sticking to any of the original storyline whatsoever. She's using the C.S. Lewis original saga for inspiration, but that's pretty much all we know. Apparently, one of the hair and makeup designers, Ivana Primorak, who worked with Gerwig on Narnia here, let it slip recently that the first movie will be adapting The Magician's Nephew, which is the first book of the Chronicles of Narnia series. It's never been done before on screen. But boy, am I nervous for all of this, for a myriad of reasons, not the least of which is that just a few days ago it was announced that Greta Gerwig's Narnia has officially finished filming, which is interesting. We know pretty much nothing about this project. There's been no set photography leaked. There's no trailer that's been dropped. There's no release date that's come out, although people are speculating this Thanksgiving. And one of the big concerns people have had, because it's been in the rumor mill in Hollywood for months and months and months up to this point, is that Aslan, the allegory for Jesus Christ as the lion, is going to be voiced by Meryl Streep. It's an interesting choice. Don't get me wrong. I love Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep as Donna Sheridan, count me in. Meryl Streep as the editor of Runway magazine, count me in. Florals for spring, groundbreaking. Yes, more of that, Meryl Streep, please. Meryl Streep as Jesus Christ? No, I'm out. Count me out. No interest in that whatsoever. This Film Crave film review account on X said Greta Gerwig's Narnia has officially wrapped filming on February 1st, so just a couple days ago, starring Meryl Streep, Daniel Craig, Carey Mulligan, and Emma Mackey. So I guess we're getting a female Jesus Christ now, which is, an interesting choice. Someone reminded me just the other day that there's a beautiful parallel that Lewis created in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe between Jesus and Satan, who is obviously allegorically portrayed as this white witch in the winter of Narnia. And part of the major portrayal of the allegory here between one side and the other was portrayed in gender differences, right? Jesus was portrayed as a strong, masculine lion voiced by a man. I think it was Liam Neeson that voiced Aslan, wasn't it? Producer Jess, double check. I'm 99% positive it was Liam Neeson, which always takes me by surprise. Every single time I rewatch that movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that was an interesting choice. We're fact checking. It was Liam Neeson. Nice, good memory, Isabel, despite mom's sleep deprivation. It's Liam Neeson and this hyper masculine, warm, strong, sacrificial, go into battle lion portraying Jesus. And on the other side, the portrayal of Satan is created in this image of a alluring, mysterious, sinister woman who is very frigid and cold, not warm at all. So literally, you've created the warmth and the cold thing, you've created the good and the evil thing, but you've also segmented the difference between Christ and Satan by gender, that there is a male, which Jesus himself, by the way, did choose to be incarnate in this world as. So that's not an odd choice. It seems to be the correct choice. And female, which also Mel Gibson portrays Satan as a woman in The Passion of the Christ, or this like more feminized, androgynous creature, I should say. He didn't really portray her as a woman, but a much more feminine version contrasted with the masculinity of Christ. Meryl Streep, I don't know how you contrast the female, feminized, Satan, evil thing with another woman. I don't get it. I don't like it. I'm not here for it. And that choice alone makes me not want to watch this series, which is so depressing, right? Because I couldn't be more excited for the new Harry Potter. Couldn't be more psyched. Really excited that my daughter's generation is going to have their own rendition of the stories I grew up with and absolutely fell in love with. I wish that we were getting a different Harry Potter story, maybe like a Marauders series or something like that. But it's okay. I'm fine with the remake if it's done correctly. And J.K. Rowling being signed on makes me think that it's going to be done correctly. You guys might notice I'm sporting my glasses again today, not so much by choice, but mostly because my eyes are so dry from not sleeping as a new mom. Cut me some slack. Are we looking into LASIK? Yes, we're on it. But I am incredibly grateful that last night I did get kind of a stretch of sleep. We got like 4 hours at a time, which was a huge win because we have prioritized the right mattress in my family's sanctuary of a bedroom. Finding the right mattress for you doesn't have to be complicated, and it can make a whole world of difference in your life, just like it has for us with a very, very sleep deprived 10-month-old baby. By choice, I think she's allergic to sleep at nighttime. It's a whole thing. Our friends at Helix make finding your right mattress incredibly straightforward with their sleep quiz, which matches you to the perfect mattress based on your specific preferences and sleep needs. They're not just another mattress company either. Helix is the most awarded mattress brand out there with glowing reviews from major publications like Forbes and Wired. It is not just marketing hype. I can 100% promise you that. A study they recently conducted found that 82% of participants actually saw an increase in their deep sleep cycle while sleeping on a Helix mattress, which is very impressive, especially when you think about how crucial quality sleep is for everything else that you are doing in your life. My husband and I made the switch to a Helix mattress about 6 months ago, and it has been a huge game changer in my family's life. We sleep longer stretches at a time. When we are asleep, we fall into deeper sleep much more quickly. And when our daughter inevitably sneaks into our bed at like 3 a.m, because that's where we're at, she tends to be a whole lot more comfortable too. Helix even offers free shipping straight to your door, a 120-night sleep trial so that you can test it out in your own home, and they make returns and exchanges completely seamless if it's not quite right. Plus, they back everything up with a limited lifetime warranty. You can start sleeping right tonight, as I should as well, but you know, your lips to God's ears. By ordering a Helix mattress today, go to helixsleep.com/Isabel for 27% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/Isabel for 27% off site-wide. And make sure you enter our show name at checkout so that they know we sent you from the Isabel Brown Show. Last time, that is helixsleep.com/Isabel. But why are these people so ridiculously obsessed with just changing massively important aspects of some of our favorite stories of all time? It doesn't seem to be done out of love or put your own creative spin on it. It seems to be done out of a very serious, sinister, nefarious agenda, particularly when the story is about Jesus Christ and the hallmark tenets of Christianity introduced to a children's audience. Call me crazy for not trusting Hollywood to honor a timeless Christian story that has stood the test of time, but I just don't really trust it. And it's not just Christianity, by the way, these stories that they are attempting to intentionally rewrite. There's another rumor mill on the horizon that Animal Farm, beloved George Orwell classic. If you haven't read it, it is your homework this afternoon. I sent one of my producers home with Animal Farm the other day because shockingly they had never read it, and I hope that they are making progress on said story. It really only takes a few hours to read. It's like 100 pages. It's not long at all. That's your homework for today if you haven't read it. Animal Farm is being brought to the screen by Angel Studios. And let me say, I have pretty much loved everything Angel Studios has ever put out. I am a very, very big fan of their work. I think they do an amazing job countering some of this woke nonsense from Hollywood, generally speaking. But there is a rumor mill out there that Angel Studios, that acquired the rights to distribute Animal Farm, to be clear, they didn't make the film, they are distributing the film, has fundamentally changed the story of George Orwell's Animal Farm, perhaps the most famous allegory of communist, Stalinist Russia, and the warnings for an authoritarian communist society, to instead critique capitalism. Now, I have not yet seen the film. It's not out yet. It comes out May 1st, the same weekend as The Devil Wears Prada. What did we have when Barbie and Oppenheimer came out? Barbenheimer. Someone needs to put together Animal Farm and The Devil Wears Prada. But maybe that'll be my double-length feature film weekend coming up in a few months. I also have not yet seen the trailer. I know our other Daily Wire hosts already have. I've been a little busy juggling my hands with a baby, so I have not yet seen this trailer. I thought we could react to it together and then tell you what some of the film critics that have already seen the movie are saying, because I got an interesting, not so happy, prickly feeling about this one. Here we go.
We are going on vacation.
I do hope it's somewhere good.
What does that say?
Laughter House!
That sounds awesome. I love to laugh.
Okay, so right away, I'm seeing they're introducing a new character, Lucky, that is not in the book story. I'm going to have to do a good reread to make sure I remember everybody. Lucky is a new character. The animals are being led onto a massive truck that says Slaughterhouse, but the S is covered up, so they call it Laughter House. This is so fun. I love to laugh. Interesting.
No animal shall wear clothes.
Huh? What? We're show pigs.
And all animals are equal.
Okay, that feels somewhat reminiscent of the story, as much as I'm remembering. So far, this seems okay. Okay, here's the cast. This is interesting. Seth Rogen. Gayton's in this movie. Didn't know that. Glenn Close is in this movie. Kieran Culkin, Laverne Cox, Woody Harrelson. How did they get all of these people? That alone scares me, to be honest with you. I don't think all of these people from Hollywood would sign on to do a movie about critiquing communism. That's not a good look for them. So this is scary to me.
Animal Farm, A Cautionary Tales, in theaters May 1st.
Don't know how I feel about that right off the rip. I gotta be honest with you. It seems to me, even just based on the trailer, the portrayal becomes less about Stalinism, authoritarian communism, and a whole lot more a critique of capitalism. Don't know how we feel about that. Not the Bee, our friends at the Babylon Bee, reported this on their not satire site 2 months ago, so a couple weeks ago, with a report that the Animal Farm remake is actually going to be promoting the dangers of capitalism instead of critiquing communism as one of the easiest ways to destroy society. They did say this right off the rip, and I want to be abundantly clear. Executives at Angel Studios have strongly denied the initial reports from The Telegraph, who covered this, and other outlets, insisting that the film does not carry an anti-capitalist message. While we haven't seen the movies ourselves, those statements are substantial enough to warrant withholding judgment, particularly if the film has been miscategorized by the media. Angel Studios said it was very careful to ensure that the movie's political messaging would not alienate its fans or supporters. We will provide an update when we get more details, but one thing is for sure, this movie is going to get a whole lot more attention now. So The Telegraph ended up covering this, and many other outlets have now come forward to share that actual film critics got advanced screenings of this film, and they are all suggesting that in reality, Animal Farm is not really about communism anymore. It is supposedly equally critiquing communism and capitalism. The Free Press covered this at length, saying the new Animal Farm movie is less equal than the book. Their byline says an animated adaptation drops the clear critique of Stalinism that makes George Orwell's novella great to begin with. People on social media are saying that this is like a really scary reality. The Telegraph article is being cited all over X related to all of these film critics and everybody tweeting about this. Rob Henderson said this: the new Animal Farm movie, quote, rather than serving as a critique of totalitarian Soviet Russia, the film shifts its focus toward the dangers of capitalism and corporate corruption. Napoleon, the Joseph Stalin character in the book, is rewritten to be sympathetic, and Pilkington, who in the book represents the United States and Britain, the UK, is rewritten as an evil billionaire, definitely going to skip this AI slop. And then he follows it up by saying, looking forward to the 1984 remake about the dangers of free speech. How Big Brother was just misunderstood and that Winston Smith was the bad guy all along. You think I'm joking, but how surprised would you be if that movie were made today? Interesting. I want to withhold judgment on all of this because I generally love Angel Studios. I love all of the projects that they put out. But there's a lot of film critics who are really upset about the whole thing, and Angel Studios is still releasing the film. They said a few weeks ago with a press release on their website that they will be releasing Animal Farms in theaters May 1st, 2026, and they're quite excited about boasting their all-star voice cast, including Seth Rogen as Napoleon, I can never say Gayton's last name, it really bothers me, kid from Stranger Things, I really like him, as Lucky, the young piglet kid torn between competing ideologies. We've got Glenn Close in this, Laverne Cox, Kieran Culkin, Woody Harrelson, Jim Parsons is in this movie. How did they get all of these people? This is a massive cast. Kathleen Turner, Andy Serkis. I don't know that these people would have all signed on to make a movie that is critiquing communism. It wouldn't be great for the rest of their careers in Hollywood. Point being, somebody, anybody, maybe this is a call from inside the house, Daily Wire, somebody, everybody, anybody out there listening, we need better options for our kids. And it's astounding, now that I'm paying more close attention to all of this stuff, how few truly family-friendly options are out there being made as new films. The only options we really have are to go back in time and to rewatch all of our favorite movies from our childhood. But how soon until those are no longer available to us? I saw on TikTok the other day that there's a whole trend among Gen Z parents, and I'm dying to know if you guys would do this. I think I might have the itch after today's episode in particular. Gen Z parents are going on eBay and they're buying VHS players and TVs that have the built-in VHS slot, if you guys remember, like the little tiny square ones we used to watch when we were growing up, and then just buying mass VHS collections of the original Disney movies. I am all for that. I am here for that. I may be making a huge bulk eBay order this afternoon, but do you feel the same way? Is that something that you might do? Are you frustrated by how Hollywood is destroying all of our favorite stories time and time and time again? Are there any movies that you do want to see coming out in 2026? Let us know in the comments. And just as a reminder, if you guys are always looking for the best way to watch the show every single day, join us on Daily Wire Plus. We are today having some really exciting meetings about subscriber-only content that will only be available to you guys over there on Daily Wire Plus, and you can watch the show completely ad-free if you are a subscriber to our community over there. So check it out. Daily Wire Plus is the place to be, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you guys are watching to help us continue to grow our community every single day. We love ya. We'll see you back for the Isabel Brown Show tomorrow.